love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal.
Welcome back to Pitt State Esports. Today we have an Overwatch match for you guys. New update recently dropped for Overwatch, completely reworking the game, so we'll see how that affects our team. I mean, they played in the last game. I believe the update was out the last time they played, and a lot of things changed, so maybe it'll mix up how their game plan is, how they are playing. PSU is facing against, I believe it is St. Francis University, and they will be playing against a couple players that could be showing up on the roster. It looks like they have 7 players that might be able to show up, or maybe 7 players and a couple subs in there. We have Olato, Slays, Elixir, Nebby, Jaeger, Distortion, Cadence, John, Shadow Dragon, and Tiger, and then their coach is Karki. And for our team, we've got the classic Grunts, Whiskery, Toxic Gamer, Professor Comedy, L. Kratz, Skylar Rose, and Darkness with Sexy Beast as our coach. The match will start here shortly. We can expect a bit of a different game as well, because both teams here are 0-2, or have lost both the games they've played so far, and are relatively around the same rank. I believe the only difference is that their tank, Lato, is flat 2, while ours is only gold 3, Brent's being gold 3. I was checking out their stats, and it looks like they're mostly a Zarya player, so be prepared to see some Zarya action from St. Francis. On Pitt State side, Brunt, he usually plays, I believe it's a Ram, and then he'll play Sigma from time to time, and Reinhardt as well. He likes to switch it up a lot from what I watch, and just hope this is a good match. Be starting here shortly. Again, they're both O2 teams. We don't know what happens what's going to happen going into this. Pitt State usually here, and off on the first game, I believe we're on Legion City. Here on the first map, King of the Hill map.
Humanity is shackled. About to get real.
I will find the key.
I will create pathways to victory. Make sure you follow them.
St. Francis taking a more, looks like aggressive kind of play style. It looks like they're both playing Ramatra, both tanks. And a Junkrat along with a Sojourn, Moira, and Kiriko. And for Pitt State, they also have the Ramatra and the Moira and the Sojourn, but with a Lucio and a Symmetra. It looks like they're going straight for the fast approach here, going straight to point. Here at the beginning. Fast, aggressive approach. Pitt State already on point. France is kind of taking an angle here, trying to get some action, trying to get maybe some more crowd control going on here as they start pushing up aggressively. And there's already one pick from Mr. Boner, taking down Whiskery. Brunt's taking down the Sojourn, though. Good plays by him. And Elkratz giving out heals. Good heals all around. Jaeger, good heals. Looks like it's just going to be a tank battle for now. Moira almost getting taken out there by Lado. So far, oh my, and Brunts goes down. Whiskery gets 2 though, but dies to this Sojourn. Distortion taking out. Oh, Professor Comedy taking out 2. Just cannot get away with the Ramatra still on point. You know, the tank has a large health pool, and it's kind of hard to get around if you're, you know, just 1v1ing, so. St. Francis gets the point first here. It looks like Pitt State is taking a fast approach again, just trying to be super aggressive on getting into this point. Solid damage coming from both sides. Metro trying to find a way in. Brun's already going straight to point, though. And taking out Shadow Dragon. Great play. It's like Lado pops his ult along with Kiriko. Big combo. But it's not taking out anyone. Good heals from Pitt State. And they counter ult. Oh, but Lado gets 2 from his ult. But they all go down. Pitt State gets the point. Great play and ults from Brunts there. And Professor Comedy with that Sojourn ult. He's St. Francis slowly pushing in here now. Maybe taking a step back. Find a... But Brunts just goes down immediately. He can't do anything. Ramatra damage is just crazy, along with that Junkrat follow-up. Kratz getting in good heals for the rest of the team while their tank is down. Trying to give the best support he can. And they haven't quite gotten to point yet. Pitt State kind of holding off for now, as they play pretty passive. Brunts making it back to point. Hold it off as long as he can here. Making a side push here. Them trying to do a little flank play. Doesn't work out and they have to fall back. We've got Sim just doing the bulk of the damage here on this. Ramatra just not being able to heal fast enough and gets taken down by Brunts because of that new DPS passive that was just released, to where it actually restricts the healing if the DPS is damaging them. Great play from Pitt State there as they take down Brunts, or as they take down the tank, Leto. And Leto, like I said, is Zarya player, switches it up to Zarya now. And we know Zarya is just all around kind of hard to play against. They're not really a super hard counter to anyone, but they do just like soft counter everyone. Shadow Dragon with a big tire there, but Pitt State takes out 2 right before that tire. Professor Comedy putting in the work, and Brunt's still on point, doing the rest of the damage there. Professor Comedy popping his ult just to finish this round off. And a good round. Pitt State wins the first round of map 1. Solid gameplay all around. I think St. Francis University really needed to switch it up there earlier, or just switch how they were playing, because they were taking a really fast, aggressive approach with that Junkrat. And, you know, without kind of that tank to push up with that Junkrat and that spam, they're not going to really get any distance off that. Going into map 2, round 2, we don't see a really big change up for St. Francis besides, oh, they do switch to Lifeweaver instead of, oh, it looks like they got Moira and Lucio now. Pitt State is sticking to the same team comp they had in the last round. Pitt State has point again first because of that Symmetra teleport.
They're doing just massive damage to this tank. But Brents is also taking a lot of damage. He needs to get healed quick for his team. And they do take down the tank. Whiskery takes him down. A great play, and Shadow Dragon falling off the map there. Don't really know what happened there, but fell to his doom, it looks like. Pitt State holding this bridge as best as they can. St. Francis switching it back up to the Zarya. We only saw her for about 20 seconds that last round. But Pitt State overall is just holding this point pretty well so far. 20% already gone. And they're just holding it solid. Brunts is pushing in, though, on this Junkrat, and that might not be a good idea. Sojourn's also there and has that rail going to do a lot of damage, along with the Zarya charge. You know, it's just massive overall damage. Like, there's nothing you can do to defend against that damage, but kind of fall back here as he did. And kind of relying on this Lucy ult now, too, as he is still pretty low. But they decide to go in anyways, and Professor Comedy takes out one. And it was a big pick because it was on the Zarya, and, you know, Zarya there. But Brunt overextends and gets taken out by the Moira. Professor Comedy, I think, ulting here again. Putting in great work. And both supports ult for St. Francis, followed by Pitt State's Moira ult here. Zarya already making it back, as Pitt State needs to fight against two healers and a DPS, and they just can't right now. Zarya now just comes back, and they just take point for free. I mean, they had to back up there. They had no tank to work with, and Distortion getting the late pick on Professor Comedy, staggering the, you know, respawn time. That is not good for Pitt State, and it's going to cost them a couple of ticks of the point. Pitt State all grouped up, ready to go in. Teleporting straight to point, actually. Good ult from Brunts here to clear the objective. Gets one from it. It's John. Takes down John. But they do get point. Leto getting taken out by Professor Comedy again. This, you know, this buff also made it to where Sojourn's projectiles for a gun is just so much better now. And they tend to hit the headshot a lot more because the hitboxes did get increased. So we do see a lot of plays from Sojourn now, especially with that railgun. I mean, it's so easy to get so much damage built up from Sojourn now, so. And again, they also have that sim that can just shred bubble as well, just shred teammates, or shred tanks, you know. Just put out massive damage. But Shadow Dragon with the big tire, and John getting a boop kill. Lucio diff, little bit of a Lucio diff there. And Pitt State is forced to back up at a 99% to a 40% for St. Francis. Mr. Comedy putting in some damage there against the Moira. And they go for the classic teleport again. They should have been watching out for that, and it looks like they were, as Zarya gets the ult, but Moira pops her ult to kind of counter it, and it just didn't get enough healing going out with that new DPS passive. It's just, you can't do anything about that. And, you know, a huge ult from Zarya all around there. I mean, takes out almost all of the team, besides the few stragglers that got away. Looks like they're just going to go around, fake teleport this time, and just go straight around. Might be a smart play. It's now or never for Pitt State as well, because if they lose this fight, then they lose the round. So Pitt State has to go in now. A lot of damage to the tanks there, but I don't think that is the play for Pitt State, as they kind of need to go for the healers first to be able to take out this Zarya because of how much bubbles he can put out. Good ult from Brunts, though, as one gets taken out. And again, like I said, if he's just targeting that Zarya, he's going to get taken out by the other DPS that are surrounding him. And Jaeger popping this ult to kill Lucio. Lucio managing to survive somehow. I think that Moira was kind of on him. And Pitt State does manage to cap. Just Jaeger left on the point. Pitt State wins. Lucio just left now. Professor Comedy taking him out one by one. Oh, Diva managed to get back to the point as well. That's kind of huge for St. Francis here, as they are in a 2v3. But now they're just swarming the point. Pitt State is just taking over. L Kratz with that ult. And Pitt State wins the first map. Loved the aggressive playstyle from Pitt State there, especially from the Ramatra, but I think if I had to nitpick one thing, I think he was targeting the Zarya a little too much there. He should have kind of left that for the DPS to deal with. Overall, though, great team play. I mean, Professor Comedy kind of popping off on Sojourn there, doing a lot of work for the team and a lot of damage onto that tank and taking out just random stragglers that would be left over, like the case with the Lucio and Moira that were left on point alone, and he managed to take him out by himself. Great plays from Pitt State there. St. Francis kind of struggling to get to point there. I mean, the tank, they would make it to point, but they just could never win those first encounter fights, or when they first kind of make that contact, they'd always get one man down straight off the bat. And because of that, I think just Pitt State overall getting that solid connection, that solid, firm grasp on the point. I mean, there's nothing they can really do. Yeah, great win for Pitt State on Lijiang Tower. Like I was saying, the map is it's a lot easier to win on because they are mostly Koth maps. So it's more of just one-on-one fights, full team fights, because they're all kind of squished together into this one objective, and that could be a make or break for a lot of teams. And with that being said, we'll take it to break here, and then the next game will be played here shortly. Welcome back to Pitt State Esports. Looks like map 2 is going to be on Kings Row. We'll see how Pitt State does on this. Usually, this is one of the maps that they have little time succeeding on. We have seen him cap the first point a couple of times and push it about halfway, but he's never seemed to really get to the end here. But maybe against this team, they might have a chance. Pitt State already with a good start on that first point lead as we take it into map 2, round 1. St. Francis doing the same team comp that they had last time. I think they changed their Sojourn for a Symmetra, though. They saw good... Pitt State saw good use out of that Symmetra in that last game. So it looks like St. Francis might be trying to utilize that now. Other than that, we have the same comp for St. Francis, and Pitt State also does change it up with now a May and a Brig for a more aggressive approach, and I'm guessing they're keeping that Symmetra for a fast teleport again to like high ground or something. You know, Junkrat spam, always good on these tight corner maps where there's only really one exit, but, you know, Pitt State here with a good play, you know, getting across that Junkrat spam, and he actually gets taken out and flanked by Pitt State there because he goes through the Sim teleporter up top and just dies instantly because of it. And Moira also gets taken out because of that same exact problem. Pitt State off to a great start already. 2 down, and they're already taking out the tank too. Great May wall. Run's pushing up now too. Take out the straggler Kiriko. Get rid of her. What Pitt State is saying right now. Sim also up top trying to get away. Just barely gets away. As Pitt State looks to just cap this point for free now. Pitt State already getting the payload. That's good time for Pitt State. Now they have almost 5 minutes left. About 5:30 minutes left. 5 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Run's kind of pushing up here, taking a lot of damage though. Holy, as that beam is taking out all of his health. And that the Sim beam too. They really need to get rid of these Sim turrets. I think that's what caused the bulk of the damage there. And he's still just taking so much damage here, as we see. Zarya full beam too. Oh my, that's devastating for Pitt State here. And John taking out one. Taking out the May actually, which was kind of crucial for getting that tank pick. They're forced to push back now because tank does not have any time to heal here. Brig kind of playing a little aggressive, and you know, it leads to a little mishap. But Professor Comedy taking out 2. Sim, you know, Sim here with like the huge damage because of this DPS little passive buff they created. Sim is seeing a lot of play now, especially when you can just beam them down and get that full charge. Skylar taking out Distortion there. Good pick. I don't know where that Sim was though. I think they were just hiding, trying to get out again. St. Francis forced to back up to regroup, and Pitt State just, you know, pushing up as far as they can, getting as much space as they can, so they can push this card as far as they can. Runs again, just look at how much damage he's taking. One Junkrat and Sim, and he just takes so much damage. And we see here he's pushing up with his ulto, and he gets 2. I don't know how he gets 2. Great teamwork. 3 actually, and Shadow Dragon again falling off the map. He did this last match too. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. I think he's doing it on purpose at this point. Sim going up top to maybe set up some turrets and get some extra damage here. Just caused a little bit of mishap for Pitt State as they, you know, capture that second point already with almost 5 minutes left in the second point. That is crazy time. St. Francis really has to do something here to, you know, stop this massive push, and Bruns is still taking a hulk of damage, but the healing is just so great for Pitt State's side right now, or the management of just the team in general right now is just looking so good for Pitt State, and the Brig push, everything is just going perfectly to plan for Pitt State here as they're taking them out. St. Francis out 1 by 1. John and Distortion going down again. Brunt and Professor Comedy, you know, Professor Comedy, I talked about him in the last match, but he's just popping off now. Shadow Dragon does take out the Brigida. That could be big, as there's not a lot of area healing now for Pitt State. But Moira is more than enough to keep up the heals. As they block off the tank again, they could get an easy pick, but fortunately no one is there to get it, and Moira ults, but Sim goes down anyways, and the Zarya. I mean, crazy plays from Pitt State. They take out everyone, even after that Kiriko ult. Great Mei ult just shuts them down, and Pitt State caps it at the 330 mark. Pitt State with just amazing aggression here. I think it's just throwing the balance off of St. Francis, as they don't have really time to recuperate when they're down a player. And, you know, as after they're just following after every kill they get. And if they push back, they just follow, and where they go, I go, you know. Pitt State now on the defending side. As we see who they pick here shortly. I'm thinking they just stick with the same comp, and they do. It's working out for them. So, and with all that, the Mei walls and the Sim turrets and just the Sim beam in general, it's just so much damage going around. Pitt State doing so much damage to St. Francis. And it looks like St. Francis is going to go with an Alari now instead of a Kiriko, I believe. Also switching up the Zarya again for Ramatra. But Ramatra didn't really work out for them either. In the last game we saw, they got shut down by Brunts quite often, and Professor Comedy, when he was playing Sojourn, was also just doing a bulk of damage to them. They really need to change up what they need to do, what their strategy is here, because if Pitt State just shuts them down over and over, they're just not going to be able to do anything. It looks like they're going to do the high ground thing, too. They, unfortunately, don't have a Sim to teleport across. But it looks like they're going the long way, all the way up this stairs. It's always a good idea to take high ground. But in this scenario, there's 3 Pitt State players just straight across already, watching out for this. And, you know, it looks like the tank might go down. He's taking a massive amount of damage from the Sim, and nobody's shooting the turret either. Lots of trades going on here, and nobody on point yet. They're not even getting close to point. They're just getting held down in this little corridor. I think they need to change up their game plan here, or they're just going to get stuck in the stairs. And it looks like Lays just might go down here. But no, they managed to stick it out. And they're finally jumping down to point. Lucio getting up his boop off. But Pitt State. Oh my gosh. St. Francis actually takes down 3. Crazy plays there. I guess the Swifts jumped down to the point and just caught Pitt State off guard. Brunt's kind of left alone here. Fight by himself with his Moira. And they do eventually just have to back off. I mean, there's nothing they can really do to get this point back at this point, but Brunt's trying to touch, and he might just die because of that. Good heals from Pitt State, though, as he is kept up. And a great Mei wall to secure the rest of the heals for him. Sojourn with the ult for St. Francis could do a lot of damage, and Tyre. They have so many good ults here for the next fight. Pitt State might not be able to get out. As Brunts goes down, and so does Skylar. Oh, and everyone's just going down now. They didn't even use an ult, and they're just getting caught off guard. Pitt State going down. You can see their reactions on the side here. Getting taken down so fast there. They're just spamming this corridor, you know, Junkrat and Ramatra, they're just pushing up and spamming these corridors. I think the Junkrat should push up a little bit more so he can maybe spam closer to their spawn area. But regardless, we saw an ult from Brunts there. Or it was Lato, and it just takes out 2. But a great counter Mei ult, followed by a Moira ult to take out this Ramatra ult. Oh my gosh, Pitt State actually just wins that so fast after that counter Mei ult. Great plays from them as Whiskery is just trying to take out the remaining characters. Pushing them back as far as they can. Now we don't want to push up too far because we see there took a lot of damage just from one shot. That Sojourn, and they might. Oh, but Pit State is just holding this corner. Nothing St. Francis can do. And they pop Kiriko's ult. This could be huge for Pit State. They can take down like maybe a tank or just someone, but no, they don't take down anyone. Even with the sim wall, they pop 2 ults there, and it really, nothing comes to use of it. But they do manage to take down 2 after those ults go off. 3. Pit State is just pushing them back, and this pure pressure is just calling out St. Francis, you know? They're just falling flat on their face here. Nothing really they can do besides get a pick maybe or 2 before they start pushing. They need to get like 1 pick or 2 picks by maybe some flank from the Junkrat or something. We need like a big ult from St. Francis here to get anything done. As they are trying to go around, Mei's already there to kind of catch him off guard, and Sim placing down turrets too. It's just so much damage. Because again, they're in these tight little corridors. Mei also already having their ult back and ulting there with the Moira again. It's just so, this tight corridor, there's nothing really you can do. But Leto does manage to take out Whiskery, which is great for them, and now he pops his ult. But look how much damage he's taking from Professor Comedy, and Brent's also pops his ult. Do manage to push him back enough, and if maybe a tire here could finish Pit State off, and they could get that second point. And it looks like they will. Moira, the only one left here. Sim also kind of behind here. I don't know if Sim could really do anything here. Maybe they could touch or just block. And this is a huge wall. If they take out Lays right now, I mean, Pit State could just win this fight, but they don't. They managed to get out, and Pit State not getting that advantage that they could have had, and it might just make it to where they allow them to cap point. And you know, taking out 3 there or 2 there, it looks like they will just cap point here. With significant less time than Pit State, though, at the 2-minute mark, almost 2:15, 2:10 mark. St. Francis again needing to they need to get at least 1 minute on the board so they can have an extra, I think it's 30 seconds. So they'd have 1:30, or is it 2 minutes? Leto blocking a lot of damage there. He got down to 59 health. Pit State could not capitalize that, and Shadow Dragon just takes out Professor Comedy because of all this spam. Mei ult does freeze the Ramatra though, but I don't think they can get the kill. It's too far away there. And a good ult from Moira as well. Another great wall. Pit State does have the chance to kill this Ramatra again, and they just can't do anything. And the Ramatra ults too. This could be huge. Moira counter ulting though to get those heals in. And Brunt's also counter ulting. Crazy. They got 2 kills immediately after those 2 ults. 3. Leto taking out at 1 though. That being the tank, which is actually huge because that means they can play on point a little bit more and longer, but Skylar Rose taking them out. But Professor Comedy just doing a fat load of damage there along with Whiskery to that Ramatra. Good hold from Pit State. So far, you do see Visor, and that's the only ult we have right now. Mei ult is coming up relatively soon, in 4 seconds or so. And that could be huge. If Pit State could kind of balance out these ults and time them to where, this Mei ult goes out first, or this Visor ult delays until their overtime and then the Mei ult comes out, that would be the ideal play for Pit State here. They have 17 seconds left, and they pop both the ults, but everyone gets frozen. It's a great ult, and St. Francis is left with no one, as they all just get taken out one by one again. Huge Mei ult, huge Mei plays. Tyre comes in there, does not kill anyone, unfortunately. And Lucio being the last one to touch here. Looks like Pitt State might take away this game unless there could be a huge ult coming in. Odrin does manage to touch. I don't think it's enough. This D.Va's just going to get taken out instantly, as we just saw. And there's just nothing they can do as Pitt State wins the second map too. Pitt State 2 in a row. Look at them. They're so excited on the left side of the screen there. Look how happy they are. Finally winning 2 rounds in a row. Whiskery with great plays there. You see here how crucial these Mei ults were in winning these fights and just how much damage they could put out, especially with that 300 point health. I mean, there's so much a Mei can do now, damage wise and movement wise. They could even do some crazy flank plays if they really wanted to now. Not a lot you can do to counter a Mei anymore or a Sim because of how much HP they have. It's kind of just, you got to go spam characters, sort of Hanzo, you know, Junkrat, just a lot of characters that do a lot of burst damage to kill these characters now. And that will be match 2 for Pitt State. 2-0 for Pitt State, and we'll take it to break here shortly. Welcome back to the map 3. Pitt State in the lead 2-0 against St. Francis University here as we take it to Servasa, which is a relatively new objective map. The objective is called Flashpoint, and it's kind of like control points on or hard points if you've ever played like a Call of Duty game or something. Pitt State, again, sticking with the same comp, changing up the Brig to a Lucio, which honestly is the right decision here, as you want to get to these flashpoints as fast as you can. Take that space as fast as you can. We do see, I think, a little bit of a roster change up here for St. Francis, as Caden is now in. I don't think we saw Caden in the last match. We saw Shadow Dragon, and Distortion as well is still in here too. So a little bit of a change up for St. Francis, as they do put in Caden instead of Shadow Dragon. Shadow Dragon was the Junkrat player from the last 2 maps. And Pitt State right off the bat, teleporting to point. We've seen the sim plays this whole time, and it's just so, the beam is just so powerful now, because, and the turrets, if you don't take care of these turrets, it's just going to do so much damage. And again, with that reduced heal passive for the DPS characters, it's just hard to get around. Lato trying to make some space as Pitt State already caps the point. Distortion going in. Brun's going in though, but he just takes so much damage there as he runs straight into a Junkrat and just gets taken out. I mean, no healers were with him either. I don't know what he was thinking going in there aggressive. Kind of a misplay on his part there. Unfortunate for Pitt State, as they will have to regroup so they can come back all together as a team. You don't want to go in 4v5 because that just leads to more loss and more loss. But see, now they know they got to get rid of these sim turrets, and they just sim just gets taken down as soon as I say that. They get taken down. Professor Comedy does take out Caden though, and Brunt takes out John, leaving 3 people left on the point. I don't know if they could hold off, but they are holding off pretty well. Gotta get rid of this Moira fast. Pitt State does, before they get too much time. And with this remaining ult, I mean, what can St. Francis do? So much damage there from the Sojourn and Sim. What can they do? Brunt also has his ult. This could be a good ult for Pitt State, but we do see 4 ults coming up for St. Francis at the 60% mark. And this time it does go down relatively fast on the objective, but it's already at 75%, as you can see, but that's too close. They have to push now. St. Francis does have to push now, and they have to probably go in with an ult if they really want to take this point back. And it seems like Brunt actually is the one to pop the ult early here. It looks like Brunt might be the one getting taken out, but actually Lato gets taken out first, John taking out Whiskery, and then Brunt straight after. The seems like the support on St. Francis is just carrying here, as they do manage to contest to the point. It's just Moira and Sojourn left, along with the Lucio, and they just get taken out by the tire. Great win for St. Francis here. Professor Comedy also goes down, staggering Pitt State just a little bit. I mean, Pitt State really needed to group up a little faster there so they can get that cap a little faster. We saw they capped at the 84% mark, and that's just not something you want to do on Flashpoint. You want to be there as quick as you can to recuperate and not give them so much pressure with their percentage on the points. St. Francis already on this second objective, as Pitt State is down 1 point. And they do switch to D.Va. D.Va might be a great pick here, and diving this Sojourn and diving this Sim, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie, Sim does counter the D.Va quite a bit because the beam, it just doesn't get blocked by the D.Va matrix, but for everyone else, D.Va would be a pretty solid pick here. And it looks like they are putting enough pressure on them to where Pitt State just cannot drop down here. D.Va making lots of noise and action, as Pitt State's kind of just stuck up here watching the clock tick down. And they start moving up. Professor Comedy popping his ult. Or sorry, Whiskery popping his ult. Followed by Professor Comedy. It looks like they do like doing that Sojourn Sim wall combo. And you know, that could work out a lot of the times in their favor. They're just holding it down. St. Francis is holding this down pretty well. Even with their tank out of the picture. As Pitt State is already at the 75 mark and they're still haven't capped, and you know, Runt's eventually taking down one of them there, and Professor Comedy as they finally do cap here at the 83 mark. And like I said, leaving that kind of 83% is a big misplay. They need to be on that point a little bit faster, because once St. Francis caps again, they just don't have time to get back, basically. So if they can capture that like the 60% mark, they have time to make it back and they have time to touch. But when it's at this 83% and they have to hold it for so long and it's their first capture, it's going to be hard for Pitt State to defend, because sometimes you do need to lose one and regroup. But here they just have to hold it off, and they have to bet on their ults kind of getting staggered here. And they just immediately pop 2 ults here. But Professor Comedy does almost have his ult. So if Professor Comedy does get his ult for this next fight, I don't think St. Francis will be able to take this objective. And they do manage to hold it off well. I think 3 people got away there, 2 picks, or vice versa. 3 people died and 2 picks. Pitt State with a good hold. Caden trying to do a little flank here with his ult. And that's actually terrible for them as they get caught off guard. Just taken out one by one, out of the picture, you know. You don't want to, on Flashpoint especially, you kind of don't want to be a flank unless you're a tracer, you're a dive character like a Tracer or a Genji, where you can get out if you get a kill, or you can get out regardless. Because if you go in by yourself on these Flashpoint maps, you've got the whole five-man stack just on top of you immediately. Pitt State taking advantage of that capture and just going straight to this point. 1-1 on the point captures now. Brent's just taking so much damage again, like we said. So much damage comes out from Soldier now too. Even Soldier, if he's just right in front of you and he's hitting all these headshots, you're gonna get blown away. A big ult from Distortion's shot down by Professor Comedy's ult. Great play from Professor Comedy, as they are managed to hold the point to at least 30%, which is good for Pitt State. And Whiskery also taking down 1. Hayden, though, with that ult, good ult from him, taking down 2 players. Whiskery eventually taking him out too, though. Jaeger, like I said, these DPS for St. Francis are the ones getting these kills here, as Jaeger does manage to take out one of Pitt State's players. And they do manage to cap, actually, off of that. Pitt State looking to just get back to point. Runt's almost having his ult. Does have his ult. And he does pop it immediately here. It's a good play for him. Forcing back that Baptiste from his window too. Also another great play. Because once you force him back from that window, you don't get that, I think it's triple damage that you would get from the window normally. And it makes the ult practically useless. And he does. 2 people do escape again. But, you know, taking this point, and they're at the 66% mark, it's just, it's going to be hard for St. Francis here. As they are 62%, but I think Pitt State could make it back for another contest, even if they lose this next fight, which honestly, I don't think they will, as everyone on the team is not even close to their ults, on both sides, besides El Kratz, which is the Moira, and both Moiras are about to have their ult. If Distortion can get a lot of damage here, but you know, they just don't even touch, and Pitt State gets the second point here, forcing them back. Great plays from Pitt State there. I mean, holding them back, personally, I would have sent like our Lucio in, but they didn't have a Lucio anymore. They decided to switch to Baptiste, and that might have been a misplay, or at least the Moira could have touched, you know. But Pitt State, after losing that first point, they know they need to they just stepped it up. You know, they knew they needed to capture the second point, and they were like, all right, well, we captured the second one, might as well capture this third point as well. Kind of leave them in the dust. And Pitt State already on this third point, and we talk about it. Every time you win the points, you're usually closer than the enemy to the points when they spawn in. So if you win the second point, you'll be closer to the third, and vice versa. If you win the third, etc., etc. So Pitt State off the bat with 1 kill, staggering St. Francis again, and it looks like St. Francis just might be hopeless here. They do have 4 ults to work with, coming up 3, so that could be a good play. But we have seen some clutch Lucio plays and clutch ults just out of the blue for Pitt State. But again, if they ult here, and we already see Tyre come out, Tyre not getting a pick though, which is huge for Pitt State. They do put up window too. They just have to hide now and kind of just get healed up. Elkrat's taken down. That's honestly a big pick. They're basically their main healer for Pitt State. Lucio just not providing enough heals for the rest of the team. But Brent, they're just forcing him back though, I believe. Whiskery popped their ult, and you know that wall's huge because they can't use Visor properly now. And shortly, if he gets taken out, Brent's popping his ult, but actually just getting taken down by Distortion. And here we go. Like I said, the sim wall can only be up for so long, and he pops that ult right after, leaving it at 99% though. That is not a good footing for St. Francis. Pitt State practically in the advantage here, coming into this round, as St. Francis has no ults and not even close to any ults. Distortion being the closest at 51%. And Professor Comedy also, well, I guess Pitt State isn't that close either, but Professor Comedy has his ult coming up here shortly, faster than the junk. So if Professor, it depends on who gets this ult to win this next fight. Unless they get some pick out of the blue. Actually, it looks like they just get forced off, and St. Francis just C9s as Pitt State goes in and just brute forces their way onto point, and they just all back up. Terrible misplay for St. Francis there, as Pitt State just 3-0s St. Francis. Here we see why May is so powerful, you know, stopping the Sigma as well. It's just her beam does so much damage now because there's no passive healing from the damage now. So great win for Pitt State there, taking it 3-0 against University of St. Francis. Both these teams did come in with an 0-2 record, but you know, Pitt State obviously here being the dominant force as they take a 3-0 just so fast, not losing any points on that first map, and on the second one shutting them down on the second point, followed by a reverse sweep kind of for Pitt State on that third round, losing that first one, and then just going 3-0 after that. Pitt State just popping off there. Great plays all around for them. And we just saw from their player cams earlier how happy they were to win that. They finally won that first match of this season against St. Francis. Could their next match be this good as well? We'll see when that gets scheduled. This Thursday, so Thursday there will be a Super Smash Bros. Live stream, and on Sunday there will be as well. Both those games I will be commentating on most likely. Maybe not on Sunday. It might be rescheduled. It could be rescheduled though. So just watch out for those games if your notification pops up on that screen if you're following. And thank you guys for watching Pitt State Esports Easton Stamanich, and I'm out.